Unlock miraculous secrets. 12 prophetic revelations for divine energy manipulation. In the heart of the quaint English village, there was a mother named Sarah, a devoted pillar of faith whose prayers whispered through St. Michael's Church like a soothing hymn. Known for her radiant spirit, she organized family prayer groups and was always there to lend a hand to those in dire need. But despair knocked on her door when her beloved son, Matt, was struck by illness that shattered her world. He had been diagnosed with a terminal disease, given mere months to live. The heaviness of medical prognosis bore down on her heart like an unforgiving storm cloud, and Sarah's faith began to waver. Can you imagine the anguish felt as she knelt in that sacred place, palms pressed together, tears spilling onto her hymnal? But the village rallied around her, hearts intertwined, fervently calling on Saint Michael for a miracle. Night after night, they gathered to pray, invoking divine light through heartfelt chants. A chorus of hope rose through the air, a symphony of faith. It was in the quiet hours, when shadows danced with the flickering flames of candlelight, that a forgotten prophecy came rushing back to Sarah. She heard whispers of 12 powerful revelations, secrets meant to unlock divine healing. Oh, what desperation clawed at her heart! Does faith have the power to truly heal? As the days grew darker, tension weaved its web throughout her family. Doubt cast long shadows over their laughter, turning joyous moments into painful reminders of what loomed ahead. Just when it felt unbearable, a horrific incident sent Matt into a critical state, pushing Sarah to her very limits. The panic of that night gripped her as she raced to the hospital, her son's life hanging by a thread. In utter turmoil, Sarah felt a flicker of resolve ignite within. She gathered her church family that evening, inviting them to unite in fervent prayer. Candles flickered softly, illuminating determined faces as they breathed in the holy presence. "Let us beseech God," Sarah urged, her voice filled with passion. "Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As prayers ascended towards the heavens, the atmosphere thickened with a palpable energy. Something miraculous began to stir. The collective intention of love transformed the space, revealing divine truths Sarah had feared might evade her understanding. A warm light enveloped her, casting aside the shadows of doubt. Time seemed to pause as Sarah was granted a vision, a purpose embodied within the suffering. She saw those 12 revelations, alive with genuine meaning, blending their struggles and joys into the very essence of grace. Could these revelations unlock the healing for Matt? With breathless anticipation, she clutched her heart, knowing that her family and community were bound not just by grief, but by a divine calling. As Matt's health took an unexpected turn on that miraculous night, the village found itself enraptured by the unfolding wonder. Tales of divine intervention echoed through the streets, stirring a revival of faith that breathed life into weary hearts. Yet, inside Sarah, fresh doubts arose. Was this merely a test of their devotion, or was God preparing them for something greater? Unanswered questions tumbled through her thoughts, entwining her fervent hope as they all sat on the precipice of wonder. The following morning, the sun peeked through the clouds, bathing the village in a warm golden glow. Sarah awoke with her heart still fluttering from the visions of the night before. She recalled the flickering light and the stirring words from the prophecy. How could she hold the key to something so magnificent? She sat at the edge of her bed, trembling with a mix of excitement and fear. Determined to dig deeper, Sarah turned to her Bible, fingers tracing the well-loved passages. Each word felt alive, resonating with the energy of hope and healing. She closed her eyes, praying for clarity, for a deeper understanding of those 12 revelations. In her spirit, she could almost feel their presence hovering just beyond her grasp, waiting for her to lean in. As hours turned into moments, Sarah made her way to St. Michael's Church. The air outside shimmered, and the village seemed to hum with anticipation. Inside, the scent of burning candles filled the space, a sweet reminder of prayers offered up to the heavens. She could see fellow villagers setting up for the evening gathering, their faces filled with purpose. "Sarah," a warm voice called. It was Mary, her dear friend, clutching a small notebook. "I've been thinking about the revelations too. I believe they may clarify God's will for us." Mary spoke eagerly, her eyes bright with determination. "Yes, Mary. I felt something last night is stirring within. We need to share these revelations, perhaps together, a collective insight. What if God wants us to unlock them with our community?" Sarah replied, conviction surging in her heart. They spent the day poring over scripture, piecing together prayers and insights, infusing the gathering with their renewed passion. The tales of hope and healing grew richer with each word spoken, drawing the villagers closer together. Hearts began to ignite as stories reminiscent of divine intervention floated into the air. Every believer had a tale of resilience woven into the fabric of their lives. That evening, as they gathered around candlelit tables, a profound sense of unity enveloped them. Sarah looked around, witnessing the beauty of shared struggle, the power of collective prayer. Each voice melded into the other, a tapestry of devotion composed in faith. "Let us boldly seek the revelations," Sarah declared, raising her hands. The village echoed her sentiment, voices rising in an undeniable crescendo. At that moment, she shared something extraordinary. "I saw those revelations. They're alive within our faith." Gasps of wonder flitted through the crowd. They began to chant softly, calling for the Spirit to unveil these secrets to them. As the prayers intensified, suddenly, the atmosphere shifted, vibrational energy swirling around them. It was as if the air became thicker, charged with a holy presence. Light gleamed off faces, reflecting their devotion. They sensed a divine heartbeat, a rhythm that echoed hope and healing. But Sarah felt a tug within her spirit, questions yet unanswered. What did it truly mean to unlock these revelations? Would they risk everything for faith's embrace? As her heart raced, she pressed deeper into her prayers, desiring a direct connection to the divine wisdom she glimpsed. As the gathering began to transcend into a fervent worship meeting, an undeniable truth settled like a holy mist among them. They were not just asking for answers, but were stepping boldly into a sacred journey. Together, they were ready to uncover a purpose that would align them with the divine tapestry woven by God's hands. And as this heightened spiritual atmosphere embraced them, Matt's life hung waiting in the balance, a testament to faith's strength. Would they find clarity in the revelations? What transformation awaited them on this soaring path of hope? With anticipation thick in the air, the village held its breath, waiting for the touch of divine intervention. The stillness in St. Michael's church deepened as the villagers assembled, hearts beating in rhythm with the divine pulse they felt surrounding them. Sarah could sense the tension rising, threading together strands of hope, longing, and faith. Each prayer became a delicate thread woven into a larger tapestry of belief, drawn tight with anticipation. "Can you feel it, Sarah?" Mary whispered, her eyes shimmering with the light of faith. "It's as if the very air around us is alive, waiting to bear witness to something extraordinary." "Yes," Sarah replied, her heart quickening. "It's like a mystery is about to unfold, something we've never seen but longed for." They joined hands, forming a circle that radiated warmth and togetherness. Voices intertwined, rising and falling in a melodic prayer. Sarah closed her eyes, breathing deeply. Each inhalation filled her spirit, filling her with an inexplicable peace. Suddenly, she felt a tremor, a gentle pressure on her chest, as though the Holy Spirit was nudging her, urging her to look beyond. Opening her eyes, Sarah gazed into the flickering flame of a nearby candle. In that moment, the light seemed to dance with a life of its own, swirling like gentle waves upon a shore. "Look!" she exclaimed, pointing at the flame. "It's alive, just like our faith." Gasps erupted. The villagers turned to see what Sarah was witnessing. The candlelight grew brighter, casting elongated shadows that shifted upon the walls, sending waves of warmth through the room. A beautiful sense of unity filled the church, an invitation to step deeper into understanding. As they drew closer, the air thickened again, electrified by unspoken intentions. Sarah felt as if she were on the edge of an unraveling mystery. What if we are to explore these revelations together? What if they are more than stories? What if they're a guide into something transformational? Matt's name echoed through her mind like a beacon. His struggle weighed heavily on Sarah's heart. If these revelations were meant to guide them, then surely they would show a way forward, a path of hope not just for Matt, but for them all. Everyone, she called out, grounding their scattered thoughts. What if we receive a revelation tonight? A touch of divine energy might just be what we need to mend Matt's heart. Yes, let that be our prayer. A voice shouted out from the crowd, igniting a chorus of agreement. Hearts lifted, the air thick with divine expectation. As they prayed, Sarah focused intensely, each word a key unlocking the vault of prophecy hidden within their souls. Lord, reveal your purpose to us. Bring forth the light of those 12 revelations. We are ready to embrace the outpouring of your truth. In her spirit, she felt an answer ripple through the gathering. The candles flickered violently, and a breeze swept through the space, leaving everyone in a state of awe. Was it just the wind, or was it a whisper from heaven? Time felt suspended, pregnant with possibility. As seconds stretched into minutes, Sarah saw a shimmering outline in the air, a vision hanging just beyond her understanding. Together, they were immersed in a holy silence, waiting, yearning for the unveiling. Were they indeed on the brink of something monumental? As the candles dimmed slightly and the villagers held their collective breath, an inner question sparked. What awaited them in the depths of these revelations? Would they dare to encounter the God beyond their wildest dreams? With curious hearts, they leaned in closer, hungry for the mystical truth that beckoned just beyond their reach. A palpable hush enveloped St. Michael's Church as the flickering flames stabilized, drawing the congregation into a sacred stillness. Eyes focused on the shimmering outline Sarah had glimpsed, hearts poised in eager anticipation. Each pulse of quietude felt like a heartbeat shared with the divine. Look at the light, Mary whispered again, her voice low as if not to disturb the unfolding mystery. The glow from the candles became brighter, casting a warm golden hue across the weathered pews and the faces of the gathering. A sense of unity enveloped them, a bond forged in prayer and purpose. Then, softly, as if carried on a gentle breeze, a sound began to emerge. It was an ethereal harmony, a chorus of whispers that seemed to rise from the very stones of the church itself. Can you hear it? Sarah breathed, feeling vibrant tears swell in her eyes. The melody was sweet, resonating within her spirit, stirring a sense of both urgency and peace. Yes, like angels, came another voice, trembling with awe. The villagers closed their eyes, letting the sound wash over them. It was as if heaven had opened, inviting them to dance with the shadows and light. Sarah felt her heart swell, fueled by unexplainable joy and hope. Each note resonating seemed to reveal a piece of their lives, their struggles, their triumphs, their hearts laid bare before God. This was not merely a prayer gathering, it was the essence of their lives converging in the light of faith. With resolve, Sarah took a step forward, feeling the Holy Spirit wrap her in a warm embrace. Let us not just listen, she implored, let us join our voices. May our prayers rise higher. With those words, villagers filled the air with their own melodies. Voices mingled, overlapping, rising in a beautiful cacophony, a symphony of desperation and thanksgiving interwoven. The joyous sound filled every corner of the ancient church, wrapping them in a heavenly embrace. The shimmering light began to pulse alongside the chorus, matching the rhythm of their prayers. Sarah's pulse quickened. Yes, Lord, let our cries echo through the heavens. The gathering took heart. They united, raising praises, casting fears aside, daring to dream of divine intervention. Suddenly, Matt's name again echoed through Sarah's thoughts. We're calling you, God. For Matt. The urgency of her plea sent a wave of energy through her, prompting others to join in fervent supplication. They cried out for healing, for understanding, for revival. A desperate longing ignited their fervor. As they lifted their voices, a brilliant flash of light burst forth from the candles, illuminating every shadow. The air thickened, charged with an electric divine energy. Gasps filled the space as the outline Sarah had glimpsed transformed, shifting and swirling before their very eyes. The congregation stood in awe, rooted to the spot, transfixed by the sight. Was this the beginning of the 12 revelations? Were they invited to witness the living truth among them? In the midst of this divine spectacle, uncertainty mingled with hope. What would follow this unfolding mystery? Would they dare to embrace the truth that awaited, the revelation that might transform their lives forever? As the light pulsed gently, creating a communion of spirit, they leaned forward, breathless. What divine secrets would be unveiled in the moments to come? Would the answers marry their desperate prayers with a testament of faith? What if, indeed, they were standing at the threshold of miracles? The atmosphere thickened, charged with an expectancy that hung in the air like the fragrant scent of blooming flowers. Every heart in St. Michael's Church beat as one, racing towards the intersection of fear and faith. Sarah's grip tightened on the pew as she steadied herself, a deep resolve igniting within her. It was as though she stood upon sacred ground, not just as a witness, but as a vessel, ready to receive. Together, we can manifest miracles, she declared, her voice steady yet filled with the fervor of the Spirit. As if in response, the flickering flames danced higher, casting ethereal shadows that pirouette around the church, embracing each villager in warmth. Hope blossomed alongside the steady rhythm of their prayers, and a powerful surge of unity surged in waves. Kathy, standing at the back, raised her hands, surrendering to the moment. For healing, she cried, her voice beautifully amplified by the open space. For our community. For strength. One by one, others followed suit, their individual pleas crystallizing into a collective anthem of yearning. Each voice became a note in a grand and sacred symphony, a sweet blending of intentions that floated upward into the heavens. The light pulsed in recognition, growing brighter, lifting the veil that separated what was known from what was yet to be revealed. In that moment, hearts unlocked, fears fell away, and Sarah sensed a palpable presence among them. It felt as if the warm embrace of divine love enveloped the church, wrapping around each soul, this living word inviting them deeper into the mystery unfolding. Listen, someone whispered urgently, the crowd instinctively quieting, their anticipation hanging thick in the air. The celestial choir seemed to swell, carrying words of hope that echoed in harmony with their hearts. Peace, love, healing. The flutter in the air seemed a promise of realms unseen, a depth of understanding inviting them to grasp at the threads of truth woven invisibly through their lives. With reverence, the villagers leaned closer, drawn to the celestial light. What do we do now? Matt's sister murmured, her eyes glistening. Wait, listen with your hearts, Sarah instructed softly. The answers are here. As the sound of whispers began to intertwine with their prayers, a revelation flickered in Sarah's heart, a hint of recognition sparking deep within. It's breaking through, she exclaimed. Can you feel it? We must prepare ourselves. What divine energy awaits to be unlocked? The shimmer in the air grew more vibrant, and within that sacred moment, a figure emerged, not entirely distinguishable, yet undeniably present. Face aglow with familiarity, a warmth radiating from spirit to spirit. Sarah's breath caught. She felt a connection that transcended earthly bounds, a brotherhood born in divine purpose. Is that? Someone gasped beside her, and eyes widened in awe, fingers reaching out to grasp the hope that radiated before them. The church swelled with faith, voices mingling in praise anew, as if greeting an old friend just returned. But as the figure turned to face them, a hush fell once more. What must we do, Lord? The congregation murmured, eyes glistening with wonder, hearts yearning to perceive the message intended for them, and then the light spoke, flickering in response, weaving through the very essence of their faith. Each flicker whispered divine secrets, and through the silence, a question lingered, a divine mystery hanging in the balance. What was this revelation? What truths awaited to shift the very fabric of their lives? As the congregation suspended their breath, Sarah felt deep within, this was only the beginning. What new chapters were to unfold in these sacred moments? What did it mean to truly walk in faith? Would they be ready to embrace the profound journey ahead? The air shimmered with anticipation, a palpable energy that wrapped around the congregation like a comforting shawl. Faces lit with awe, hearts dancing between trepidation and courage. Sarah found herself rooted to the spot, her spirit soaring, as the figure in the light turned ever so slightly, as if inviting them deeper into the mystery. The entity, radiant and filled with luminosity, radiated warmth and assurance. "Fear not," it whispered. The words flowed like honey, soothing the restless hearts and calming the anxieties that had clung so tightly. "You are not alone." A wave of relief swept through the church as if each individual heard their own silent fears erased in that moment. There was a soft stirring, a shift in understanding, as Sarah felt with clarity that they had collectively opened a portal into divine awareness. Trust, believe, receive. The gentle sounds caressed the air, wrapping around the villagers like vine tendrils, urging them to reach out into the unknown. Each soft promise resonated, a tender echo through the hushed breaths of the faithful, and Sarah spoke again, emboldened. What does it mean to receive? It means to open your heart and mind to what is offered. It means surrender. As if in response to her declaration, the figure shimmered with a vibrant pulse, casting golden light all around, dancing like sunlight dancing atop gentle waves. Each villager felt the call to action. They began to rise, lifting their voices in response. Were their prayers not the very essence of this moment? Could their collective faith manifest the very miracles they yearned for? Open your hearts wide. Offer your prayers freely. Sarah called, her voice a beacon of joy. This moment is sacred. It is a gift. Engage with it. With that, voices soared higher, both in volume and intensity, intertwining in a beautiful cacophony. Prayers blended with hopes and dreams, each sentiment intricately woven together until they took flight. Like birds released into the vast sky, their intentions soared toward the figure bathed in heavenly light. "Listen," Kathy exclaimed again, her arms still raised, eyes shining. "Keep your hearts open. This is just the beginning." A wave of energy surged, almost tangible, compelling them to dig deeper into their own faith. In that supercharged moment, they felt the truth that had long evaded them. God was within them, beside them, a part of their very existence, waiting to be acknowledged. It was a transformation that felt as if they had stepped into a new realm, one filled with hope, healing, and undeniable possibility. Choking on emotions, Sarah closed her eyes. What was this divine energy coursing through them? A question lingered: what new reality awaited just beyond their grasp? This divine invitation came not with rules, but with connectivity, a challenge to be vulnerable, to trust in a greater plan. As the figure began to pulse brighter, illuminating every crevice of the church, Sarah sensed waves of revelation emerging from within. Life-altering wisdom awaited them, countless treasures hidden within their hearts, waiting for this very moment to be unleashed. "Something great is about to emerge," Sarah proclaimed, her voice rising above the unfolding mystery. The congregation buzzed with anticipation, each heart poised to receive. The moment hung thick with divine tension, with promises and revelations extending just out of reach. What transformation waited in the wings of this sacred gathering? What would it mean for their lives and the lives of those they loved to step fully into this new faith journey together? And suddenly, within the whirlwind of thought, a flicker of doubt emerged. How ready were they to confront the truths that awaited them? Would they accept the miraculous secrets soon to be revealed? The figure in the light pulsed with an ethereal glow, and the air thickened with sacred promise. As the warmth enveloped them, Sarah felt her heartbeat synchronize with the rhythm of the moment, a divine drumbeat echoing in the depths of her soul. She opened her eyes slowly, taking in the flickering radiance that danced around her and the congregation, illuminating every corner of their hearts. "Let go of what holds you back," Sarah urged again, her voice rising like a song. "Surrender your burdens to this moment. We are being called to a higher truth." Each word poured out with a strength she hadn't known she possessed. In that sacred space, hands began to raise higher, faces turned upward, eyes reflecting the brilliance that surrounded them. There was an awakening, as if the congregation collectively exhaled years of pain and uncertainty, preparing their hearts to receive the divine influx. An unseen thread connected them, woven from shared faith, longing, and hope, stretching towards the radiant figure who beckoned them forward. "Listen to the words of your heart," Kathy exclaimed, her voice trembling with excitement, "for they are the whispers of the divine." The air hummed, vibrated, and throbbed with significance. It was not just sound, but a profound message carried on waves of divine energy. As faith intermingled with anticipation, they became vessels of prayer, casting out their desires into the universe. "Breathe deeply," Sarah instructed as she inhaled deeply, closing her eyes to feel the energy wrapping around her. This was more than a gathering, it was a turning point, a divine moment transcending time and space. Each breath was a communion, a connection to the vast love that surrounded them. Suddenly, a collective gasp rippled through the crowd. The light intensified, illuminating not just the church, but their souls. Insights rushed into Sarah's consciousness, like a torrent, a rush of understanding that all things were possible, that faith could conquer doubt. Her spirit soared. "What we ask for here, we have the power to receive," she exclaimed, her voice rising in fervor. "Miracles do not dwell in the future, but are birthed in our present moment of belief." With a deep exhale, she felt the truth settle into her chest. It was as if layers of her past were peeling away, revealing the essence of faith she had hidden for too long. Each villager, touched by the surge of divine clarity, began to murmur their own truths, their hearts igniting with revelation. "What if?" Sarah's thought trailed off, closing her eyes once again. "What if we've only begun to scratch the surface of our potential? What if the miracles lie not just in our requests, but in our willingness to step boldly into the unknown?" Her heart raced as she stood in that electric moment, and a hush fell over the congregation. Shadows of uncertainty faded, replaced by a luminous faith illuminating the possibilities ahead. A metaphysical vibration filled the space, reverberating through each individual. As they stood there, eyes alight with hope, a new understanding emerged. They were not mere observers of their faith, but active participants in the divine unfolding. "Keep your spirits open," Kathy urged again, her voice rich with emotion. "Something profound is about to be revealed." With these words, an intensity surged through Sarah. Could it be that each prayer they offered could manifest greater than they could ever imagine? What would become of them, stepping deeper into these miracles? What divine wisdom would emerge from their hearts when they dared to believe without limits? As the light pulsed brighter still, Sarah knew they were on the brink of something extraordinary. The air buzzed with anticipation, a threshold of transformation lay ahead. What awaited them on this journey into the unfolding divine, and would they be ready to receive it? The radiance wove intricate patterns, blurring the edges of reality. Sarah felt as if she were swimming in divine light, each pulse vibrating through her very being. It was as if the air thickened with divine whispers, echoing secrets only her heart could comprehend. "Can you feel it?" Kathy exclaimed, her voice ringing with exhilaration. Every person in the room nodded, eyes wide, catching sparks of understanding. They were drawn deeper, their souls craving the revelations poised to pour forth. The light transformed, shifting from a gentle glow into a brilliant blaze. It filled the church, illuminating the faded stained glass, making colors vibrant and alive. Each villager shimmered with newfound energy, faces young and old, reflecting a shared essence of hope. Together, they formed a living tapestry, stitched with faith and desire. "Together, we rise," Sarah declared, her voice resonating with authority. "This moment belongs to us, to all who dare to believe. We are more than mere spectators, we are co-creators with the divine." A quiet hush enveloped the crowd, thick with expectation. The weight of years of unspoken fears began to lift, like fog evaporating beneath a brightening sun. Sarah closed her eyes again, surrendering to this sacred current flowing through her. She envisioned the potential resting within each heart, waiting to blossom luxuriously. "Look," someone shouted. Eyes widened in awe as a golden mist unfurled, swirling among them. It danced playfully, inviting laughter to spill out. Heaven is among us. Another voice whispered reverently, and with it came a collective realization. They were not alone in this journey. Divine energy is here, Sarah encouraged, feeling a surge of passion within her. Let us not keep it bottled up. Release your dreams, your aspirations, your longings into this sacred space. Stirring affirmations echoed. Hands lifted higher, reaching for the divine energy present amongst them. Each life pulsated with expectancy, and the golden mist began to crystallize into patterns of revelation, illuminating hearts with clarity. What if, someone dared to ponder aloud, this energy holds the keys to miracles we've dismissed too often? What if every desire we cast forth becomes our new reality? The congregation gasped, absorbing the tantalizing prospect of miracles laying claim to their lives. With each question voiced, hope amplified, a creative spark ignited, ready to burst into flames. Believe in the impossibility, Sarah urged fiercely. What is impossible but a challenge to our faith? We must embrace the unknown, trusting wholly in the divine orchestration around us. As her words lingered, an electric hum filled the space, intertwining with their breaths. Sarah felt an awakening in her spirit, a recognition that trust led to transformation, a path illuminated by faith. It wasn't just about wishing, it was about radical belief, the kind that propelled them beyond limitations. A heartbeat of anticipation thrummed through them. What if we live not just in the realm of prayer but in the realm of action? Kathy added, her voice cracking with emotion. What would that look like? With every remark, they crafted a mosaic of their hopes, a beautiful vision of healing, love, joy, and blessings. Each man and woman present felt a renewed sense of purpose coursing through them. They were not meant to sit idly by, but to step actively into their destiny, hand in hand with the divine. As the golden mist swirled more intensely, Sarah felt a pull toward something beyond. The moment is upon us, she exclaimed, tension crackling in the air. Will we embrace our power, our gifts, and our call to manifestation? The room held its breath, hearts pounding in synchrony. A decision lay at the crux of this moment. The energy of their faith vibrated, waiting for the sweet release of their desires. What awaited them when they stepped beyond their comfort, embracing true faith? Would they unlock the miraculous secrets that stood ever ready, waiting for their collective yes? The silence broke, transformed into an electrifying chorus of agreements. Yes, resounded through the church, pulsing with life. Each voice layered upon the other created a vibration that resonated through the very walls, and in that moment, they truly understood they were not alone. Their combined voices melded into a powerful tapestry of intention. Sarah felt the warmth of their unity envelop her like a heavenly blanket. We are creating a new reality, she cried, her spirit ignited by the fervor around her. The golden mist thickened, swirling in a rhythm that matched the beating of their hearts. It felt as though the air itself became charged with possibility. So, what comes next? A voice chimed from the back. It was Thomas, his brow creased with both excitement and uncertainty. How do we take action apart from just feeling this energy? A knowing smile graced Sarah's lips. We begin with gratitude, she answered, her voice soft yet firm. Gratitude is the soil in which our miracles will grow. Let us thank the divine for the blessings already present in our lives. Nodding in agreement, the villagers closed their eyes, drawing deep breaths as they invoked memories of joy, love, and grace. In unison, they began to speak aloud their gratitude, voices merging in a sweet symphony. I am grateful for my family, I am grateful for my health, I am grateful for this community. With each expression, the golden mist shimmered brighter, weaving through the crowd as if rejoicing alongside them. Sarah felt a rush of divine energy pouring into her being. It charged her spirit and grounded her in the moment. Now, she continued, her voice rising with urgency, let us visualize the transformation we desire. See it clearly in your minds, imagine the healings, the love, the miracles swirling in our midst. Picture it as vividly as you can. The villagers' eyes fluttered open, filling with newfound hope as they conjured images of their desires. Joy sparkled in their gazes, laughter bubbled up, and the atmosphere thickened with sacred anticipation. "Feel the joy of it," Kathy shouted, bouncing on her toes. "This is not just a dream, we call it into being." Waves of energy erupted, weaving through the air, igniting hearts. Sarah could see it, a magnificent vision of future triumphs unfurling like petals of a flower, each bloom radiating divine essence. Sudden clarity struck her. "But what are we willing to sacrifice?" She wondered aloud, her expression shifting to contemplative. "What fears will we let go of to embrace this newfound power? What will we leave behind?" A hush fell once more, and murmurings rippled through the gathering. Faces turned in thought, reflecting a myriad of emotions: anxiety, determination, and fascinated resolve. Here lay the dilemma. To fully emerge into this divine light, they must confront the shadows within themselves. "Every miracle comes at a cost," she urged gently. "We must let the past fade, release our doubts, and accept that change is ahead. What are we willing to give up to step into this light?" As she spoke, the golden mist shimmered and swirled ever more vigorously around them, almost alive with their collective uncertainty. In that moment, fear and faith began to tango, each feeding off the other. The atmosphere was electric, filled with promises not yet realized. Hope flickered like a candle ready to burst into flame. Sarah felt a divine nudging, a whisper urging them toward the unknown. "What if," a small voice in the back ventured, "we release everything? What if we surrender completely?" A collective gasp resonated in the space, acknowledging the audacious challenge. "Could we truly be that free?" Kathy asked, eyes alight with a mix of fear and excitement. Sarah took a moment, letting the weight of the inquiry hang in the air. "That is the question we must seek to answer together," she said softly, realizing they were standing on the precipice of something magnificent. As the golden mist enveloped them in its embrace, she felt a stirring deep within her heart. It was a promise, an awakening. The moment was ripe, and the divine flourished. On the edge of their choices, what would they choose? Would they step forward, ready to release all, and embrace the mysteries that awaited them? Only time would tell. St. Michael's Church radiated a warm glow, the golden mist swirling softly around the villagers like a divine embrace. They stood, hearts beating in unison, as the atmosphere thickened with anticipation. In that sacred moment, the air shimmered with the promise of miracles waiting to unfold. Sarah, deep within her spirit, felt the weight of their collective hopes pressing against the very fabric of reality. "This is it," she declared, her voice a steady beacon. "We are on the brink of transforming doubts into faith and fears into healing. Let us cast aside all that burdens us." With her words igniting a fervent energy, villagers raised their hands in surrender. "What do we need to release?" Sarah urged, echoing the question that had danced in her heart. "What self-imposed limits have held us back?" Eyes shimmered with unspoken fears, each villager reflecting upon their inner struggles. "I'm ready to let go of my past," cried Kathy, her voice steady and filled with resolve. "I choose to embrace the future without fear." Inspired, others began to voice their burdens too. "I release my anxiety. I let go of doubt. I abandon despair," harmonized through the crowd, each person shaking off the chains of their past, creating an atmosphere thick with resilience. As they spoke, the golden mist shimmered brighter, spiraling around each individual, illuminating their faces with divine light. The very walls of the church rejoiced, echoing with benevolence. This was a sacred exchange. Each burden relinquished became a bridge towards the miracles they so earnestly sought. Just then, a vibrant flicker of light burst forth from the center of the gathering. "Can you feel it?" Sarah gasped, overwhelmed by the radiant energy enveloping them. "This is the divine heartbeat, affirming our intentions. The 12 revelations are not just awaiting, they are being birthed among us." Before her, the shimmering light shifted, a pulsating form materialized, carrying warmth and assurance, beckoning them to trust. "Embrace this truth," the presence whispered soothingly. The words flowed silently like gentle waves crashing against the tranquil shore, wrapping around each villager, Tears of joy streamed down Sarah's face as hearts opened to receive the promise of healing. This was not just a gathering anymore. This was communion, a collective striving towards divine alignment, ready to embrace a new way of being. Lord, what do we do with this newfound awareness? She prayed, inviting clarity to pierce through the euphoria. The reverberation in the air shifted, signaling a response. Share the revelations, echoed within them a whisper of knowing that transcended words. With that, the villagers encompassed Sarah, their eyes shining with brilliance. Let us invoke those truths together, Mary exclaimed, capturing their collective eagerness. These miracles are not just for us, they are for our community, for everyone bound by our love and faith. They joined hands once again, this time tighter, a human chain of faith culminating in a sacred vow. 12 prophetic revelations, they proclaimed, voices weaving into a tapestry of intent. Each phrase carried an energetic charge, lifting their spirits ever higher. Healing, renewal, faith, love, unity, peace, hope, strength, abundance, forgiveness, transformation, miracles. The air vibrated, pulsating in rhythm with their affirmative declarations. Each word rang a bell in the universe, sending ripples toward the heavens. The flickering light intensified, pulsating like a heartbeat, responding to their pleas. Overwhelmed by a flood of love, Sarah felt each revelation sink into her marrow, each truth embroidered into her essence. She opened her eyes and gazed up into the shimmering glow. This is our moment. The 12 revelations are not truths to understand, but a call to action. We must carry this light into our lives, to heal, to transform not only ourselves but others. A resounding chorus erupted, voices echoing their commitment. We will share this love. We will shine this light. Empowered, the congregation felt an inexplicable peace wash over them. A sacred energy surged, intertwining their hearts. Together, they sank into prayer, a prayer not for themselves alone but for those around them, for those who could not be there. As the gathering crescendoed, echoes of Matt's name were uttered, as each heart, filled with intention, collectively prayed for healing. Not just for him, but for every wound, every heart hungering for divine intervention. The room hummed with clarity. Together, they were a force, a true manifestation of unwavering faith. And in that moment, Matt's breathing steadied, his strength returning, a manifestation of their collective prayers. The energy within the room enveloped him as the villagers gasped in awe. Could it be? The light brightened, illuminating his frail form, wrapping him in love, hope, and the vibrant lifeblood they had summoned. Eyes widened, tears flowed, joyous laughter erupted. Sarah felt the congregation pulse, a living being woven into divine purpose. They had unlocked the miraculous secrets, a transformation that transcended their individual lives. Their prayers had crossed thresholds unseen, ushering in the healing light. With hearts aflame and a miracle confirmed, the villagers rejoiced together. They had seen the raw power of faith, witnessing its courage, compassion, and relentless love. This is the moment we must seize, Sarah exclaimed, her voice unwavering. Let us now be the bearers of these revelations, sharing them, channeling them into the fabric of our lives, our community, our world. The warmth enveloped them. Their spirits soared higher still. As they left St. Michael's Church that night, the glow of their hearts shining brighter than any candle could illuminate, they embraced the journey ahead together, a journey led by love, bound by faith. They would face whatever may come as a united front, knowing that together, with God beside them, they had the power to manifest miracles, tearing down walls of despair and building bridges of hope. And with that, a new chapter unfurled. It was an eternal legacy of faith reverberating through their lives, a canvas painted brightly with the 12 prophetic revelations of divine energy. You need to subscribe now to our channel. Don't you dare miss out on the next exclusive faith stories that could change your life. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm and show your support. It truly makes a difference. Comment below your reactions and testimonies about this powerful ending. What did it mean for you? And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. Don't wait even one more second. Spread the divine message now. True servants of God understand the importance of supporting this channel through your actions.